everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope that if your day has just started, that it's getting off to the right start and that it's absolutely fantastic and amazing, and it's just going to be a great day. If your day is like already halfway over or towards the end, I hope that it was actually just so fantastic. You were feeling very productive and you were able to just get through everything you needed to get through, even though positive or negative things will come your way, you're able to just be able to deflect and deal with whatever comes to you. But if your day was pretty terrible or, really bad things happened or things that really just stressed you out, you had some feelings and emotions about it, I just hope that you were able to take 5 minutes to be alone, to just have some peace and some quiet to yourself, to be able to reboot and come back to baseline and figure out how you can turn the day back into how well it started. Or maybe your day just started terribly from the beginning, I don't know, but basically the 5-minute peace time that I always talk about in every episode is just for you to be able to regather yourself and regroup and figure out how you can continue on with the rest of the day feeling at least neutral about it. You might not be able to turn that frown upside down, that kind of thing. You might not be able to, the best of the day might not be absolutely fantastic, but it can at least walk away with you feeling neutral, feeling positive, feeling like, okay, I'm so grateful for this day. There are definitely things I can still be grateful about. I'm still humble about everything that's going on. The world isn't ending. You're still alive. And also taking the time to problem solve whatever things got in your way so that you're able to move forward and be able to enjoy the rest of the day or the next day coming. So I just hope that it wasn't bad. I hope that you won't have to do that, but those things happen, and we have to just be able to flex in life and understand that there's going to be ups and downs and just middle grounds, and we just have to take everything when it comes and try to continue to strengthen our mind so that we're able to be prepared for those type of things. So again, happy Wednesday. I apologize for my voice being super raspy. I'm not sure what has happened over the last couple days, but yeah, it's getting raspy. So and this week I'm not necessarily bulk recording my podcast just because of scheduling difficulties. So yeah, you're definitely going to see my voice either get worse or get better. So I hope, I actually enjoy the raspiness of it, but I know that it's not normal. So something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but I'm not too worried about it. So anyway, enjoy that. Maybe it's more sultry. I don't know. But again, happy Wednesday. This week we are talking about codependency, which I'm very excited about because it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. I know that many people, others struggle with it, and it's something important to talk about. So today, Wednesday, we are talking about lack of boundaries. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. As I have mentioned in previous episodes this week, one of the biggest reasons people struggle with codependency is due to lack of boundaries. Please give a listen to last week's episodes that talk all about boundaries. It will be more in depth than the brief overview I am about to do now. Yes, as I mentioned, and I think I mentioned this in yesterday's episode, last week I did do a whole week talking about boundaries, talking about how to know whether, if you have a lack of boundaries, how to set boundaries in your life, how to deal with any sort of backlash of you establishing boundaries in your life and dealing with any toxic people in your life. So I would encourage you to go ahead and give those a listen. But in regards to lack of boundaries for people that suffer from codependency, one of the main reasons codependents let their boundaries be violated is due to the fear of rejection by someone we care about. And it's so tough because it's that tug of war of actually codependents, they don't really care about themselves at all. So it's not like a true tug of war. It's more of like a tug of war of okay, what can I be doing right now to please them? And then how can I prevent myself from feeling rejected? How can I always stay in their good graces? And so you just don't have any boundaries because you don't want the person that you are serving and loving and caring for and doing everything and going all out for to think that you're holding anything back, so you're not going to set any boundaries. And it's also scary to create boundaries for fear those in your lives will punish us for creating boundaries that will affect them somehow or cut off current control. So the people that are manipulating codependents, and they know that they're doing that, and they know that they have the control over them, and if you know that they kind of have control over you and you just don't care, or you don't know how to get from up from under that, it's scary to start implementing boundaries in your life, because you don't want them to punish you, you don't want them to come down on you, you don't want any sort of repercussions to come after you, even though if that is what's happening, that's definitely a type of abuse, and you definitely need to get out of that relationship. But yeah, you just don't want to be cut off, you don't want to sever that relationship and feel the hurt and deep pain of being pushed away because you decided to do something good for yourself. So especially if you've seen someone else do it, or even if you put an inch forward into doing that and setting boundaries and saying no and getting a negative response, that creates even more fear, and you don't want to do it at all. Many people dealing with codependency have also suffered from shame and rejection, making creating boundaries tough, because they aren't going to want to put anything in the way of people liking them, loving them, being close to them, or anything else that could possibly be negative in the relationship. It's so hard because all that shame and rejection has just piled up, and as I mentioned before, it's probably started when you were a child, trying to people pleasers, but this is also with codependency. A lot of it starts in childhood with your parents, or with some sort of relative that you're trying to serve, and it's so hard because all that stuff will just pile up, and if you don't deal with it and you don't hash it out, you're not gonna. It's gonna make creating boundaries even more tough, especially if you don't actually deal with it and work through it and figure out what's going on and how to heal yourself, or have someone help you get to those different healing stages for your mental wellness. It becomes so hard. It's because one of the worst things is to have people not like you, or not love you, or be closed off, be rejected, have your view of the relationship become negative, because it's already negative in many other people's eyes, but for you it's fine because you're doing everything you can for them, and you're getting the return of them showing love to you and appreciation, or at least just being as nice as they can to you. You feel good about it, but yeah, you don't want you want the relationship to become any more negative. I hope that makes sense. It's just that shame and rejection is just another reason why it's hard for you to have boundaries. Codependents crave love but also fear love, so they tend to lose themselves trying to balance it all and keep love as long as possible, no matter the costs, and so it's the craving love part that really is the driving factor of continually being pulled in and not wanting to give up at any cost, because you want the love, you want the attention. It's also due from not having any of that when you were younger, especially if you're experiencing this codependency at an older age, and it begins when you're younger because you're trying to do everything you can to please the person that is there to give you love. And so that starts with your parents, and that's the only way that you figured out to receive love from them, is to just be all about them and just kind of just let who you are just fall to the wayside, become a shell of a person, as I mentioned earlier in the week, and just crave that love. But you also fear it because if you become self-aware in any type of way, you understand that what you're doing is just negatively impacting who you are as a person, but then you just totally lose yourself, and there's no balance in that. And being able to find a balance in that, you will definitely just get swept away, and you want to just continue to love that person no matter the cost, no matter what it does to you, because it's really all about them. And you will know you have a lack of boundaries if you give up too much of your time, you don't speak up when mistreated or taken advantage of, you agree when you actually want to disagree, you do things out of obligation, you minimize your own feelings, and you have toxic relationships. And as I mentioned before, you may not realize that those relationships are toxic. You might actually realize it and know that they are, but it doesn't matter to you. But you also may not realize that they're toxic because it seems fine to you, because those are, if you have this pattern that's never been worked on, you've never tried to like grow and learn from what's going on in your life, then you'll just continue in the pattern of, attracting people that end up being toxic relationships for you. So these are definitely things for you to think about. If you identify with any of those things, you may have a lack of boundaries. As I said before, you're welcome to listen to any of the episodes from last week, and it'll give you a good idea of whether or not you have like hard boundaries, soft boundaries, which is no boundaries at all, or if you have healthy boundaries established, or if you have some healthy boundaries and then some soft boundaries that are hard ones that you need to work on. That's totally fine too, because no one's gonna have it perfect. Everyone's just gonna be able to do the best they can for how they want to live their lives and what is healthy for them. So just think about that. Think about if you feel like you are giving up too much of your time. You're always saying yes, you're never saying no. You're always bending your ideas, your values, your integrity for other people because it makes them happy, and that's what your drive is inside of you, is to make them happy. You minimize your own feelings, like if you feel hurt or taken advantage of or any sort of resentment, like you're hiding that. You're not letting anyone know that because you know that it will cause anger for them. It'll cause this like trouble that you don't want to stir up at all. You don't want to stir up any drama, if you feel like you have to do things for people, even though you kind of feel this tugging inside of yourself that you don't. It's funny because inside codependent people, it's like you feel like you have to do something, but there is this, sometimes there's like, most often the people that I've talked to and done research on, it's like you do feel this little nagging at yourself, like you don't really want to do it, or you don't feel like you should be doing it, but the overwhelming feeling of needing to do it for that person, like the need to do it for them, always wins out. To start your breakaway from being, from struggling with codependency, start implementing boundaries. It's establishing boundaries is one of the best things anyone could ever do for themselves. And one of the best things that will come from establishing boundaries is actually getting your needs met and putting yourself first as opposed to everyone else. And as I've mentioned many times, one of the hallmarks of being codependent is putting everyone ahead of you and just letting you become a shell of a person. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what your wants and desires are. You don't even understand what it means to actually reflect upon yourself to figure out what's going on and what you want to get out of life, because you've spent your whole time just serving others and what they want, and their wants became your wants just because you're kind of like an extension, melding into an extension of them. It sounds really creepy, and it is, but it's so true, and it's something that many of us struggle with. So it's so important to establish boundaries. You definitely need to put yourself first. A lot of the times you definitely need to take those moments to really think about whether or not it's actually healthy for you to do any sort of things you feel obligated to do to help someone. If the love and attention and likeness that you crave from people is actually the thing that's going to help you feel the happiest in the world, or take a step back and realize, are there other things in life that'll make you happy, that'll make you feel complete, that'll bring you joy, and really think about whether that person is treating you well, or if you do feel like resentment is building up inside, or if people are taking you for granted, or if all you feel is pain and no joy, and they're telling you that pain is joy when pain is just pain and joy is joy. So some things to keep in mind. You will also improve any damaged relationships, or finally rid yourself of any toxic ones, by establishing boundaries and really taking a step back to evaluate what's going on in your life, and figuring out what needs to go, what needs to be reinforced, what needs to be brought in, and any changes that need to be made. And as I always suggest, get help if you don't think you can get started with boundaries on your own. There is no shame in asking for help. And I always want to definitely hit hard on that, because asking for help is one of the best things you could do for yourself. It could be just that one push that you need to get started on the journey of healing and better mental wellness, and just improving your life for the greatest, even just with like a couple sessions. I'm not saying that you have to commit for life. There's nothing wrong with committing for life. I've basically committed for life, and I know a lot of people have, but even just getting a little bit of help in the beginning will be such a stepping stone, such a grand stepping stone to help you become the best person you can be. So that is it for this episode. I didn't want to go too deeply on boundaries, as I've already created a whole week about that. I just wanted to kind of highlight it and talk about how it relates to codependency. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Again, thanks for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. I am Sabrina. Happy Wednesday. If you know anyone that would enjoy this content, I encourage you to share it with them, and I hope that they enjoy it as well. Please check the description box for any show notes or where you can find me on Instagram, or send me an email with any questions, comments, or concerns. But until then, I hope you come back for tomorrow's episode, which talks about martyr syndrome in regards to codependency. But until then, have a good one, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.